Okay, so our plan today is to finish up that old research paper, do a quick fun little typing speed survey. How much do you think I got on my speed typing? I got 60 words per minute. I think it's harder. They gave me a lot of hard words and some numbers. I think I can do better. We'll see how you can do. More just for fun and just to see if you can challenge yourself to increase your typing speed. That will be very valuable regardless of what work you do in the future. We're just always typing. So let's get going on our finishing up Word Project 2. I'll bring up my Word Project 2. It's right here, section 2. I'm going to finish that up. And I'll bring up my online textbook. The internet's working this time. We had a little trouble with the internet last time. Was not happy about that. Where did my online textbook go? Oh, there it is. Okay, so we got our text in there, most of the text. We are going to do a little bit of editing, but first we're going to bring in the works cited. We've done so much work. We've properly filled in works cited, parenthetical references. Now we would like to have a works cited. Oh, and I have a few typos I'm going to check here. I realize I have an extra space there. However, clicking on that, or right click, does it show me I had extra space? Guess I'll just let it fix itself. Check for any red squigglies. And then we would like to have a works cited on a separate page, on the last page. Now, you don't want to be like the rookie that when you need another page, you come here and you come to the end of that line and hit enter a bunch of times. That is not the way to go to the next page. That is very, very amateurish. A lot of people do it, even professionals. We want to just put in a page break. Now there's two ways to put in a page break. The first way is obvious should be fairly obvious. Under the Insert tab, there is a page break over here. Now that's for I'll call that the intermediate skill page break, not doing the multiple lines. Just to give you a little bit more in-depth understanding of page breaks, I can go to Layout, and under Layout, they have more breaks right here. So insert page break, and just to learn more about breaks, I go to Layout, and I see that not only are there page breaks available, if I'm doing a multi-column page, I can actually force a column break. I can force text wrapping on a particular line. And in the advanced course, we do some section breaks. One thing I like about section breaks is suppose I have a map or something that I want to put in my document and I want it to be landscape format. I can actually start a section, make that section landscape, and then start another section after that and make that go back to portrait. Sections can have their own page size. Another reason for a section, we might want an envelope page. We have an envelope with our letter. We can have that on a new section, and it doesn't affect the page size of everything else. So section breaks are very nice to know about. But we're just doing the regular plain old page break. With formatting marks turned on, I can see that I have a page break there and not a bunch of enters. And I can turn off my formatting now. Otherwise, you wouldn't know. The other way you would know that I have a page break and not a bunch of enters, if I hit my arrow down, it jumps to that next page. That's another clue that I know how to do page breaks. Now, in this last page now, this is where we want to put our works cited. Now, we're going to spell out works cited rather than have it put in the text for us. So I'm going to type works cited. Works cited. We want that to be centered. I'm going to use the Control E to center it. You could always use that little centering icon there. And the next line is where I'm going to be putting in my works cited. I want that to be left aligned. I can do Control L or the left alignment icon. And now we're ready to put in our works cited. Just for reference, if I go here to the References tab, I can look at Manage Sources, and see that I should be expecting to see 3 sites, 3 references in my works cited. Word does remember things you've cited in your other documents. It's building up a works cited source manager. And remember, you can actually buy documents. If you're doing a lot of research, you can buy documents that have these sources in them for you, so you don't have to keep going in there and modifying the source. You can just have them and say, oh yeah, all of Doc Fish's documents, I can cite them as I go, or Doc McLeod's. Currently, the ones that I have cited have a little check mark next to them. That means I do have a parenthetical reference somewhere in my document. Okay, to do the works cited, it's done here under bibliography. It's not works cited, it is bibliography, but without any title given to it. They're basically the same, just a title. Here, since we have typed our own title, we're going to the very bottom, insert bibliography. Click that, and my bibliography is automatically created for me because I have properly filled in my managed sources. If my teacher comes along and says, wait a minute, that's not the style of works cited I want, you can say, well, do you want IEEE, or do you like Chicago? And it automatically reformats according to what Microsoft thinks that style should be. As I've done this class and looked at MLA and compared it to our student handbook, sometimes it doesn't always come out the same. And I've had students say that Turabian is more like what Emmaus is asking for in the student handbook. And some say, well, Chicago is the style that's more like it. Whatever your instructor for the paper prefers, that's the one you go by. Even if they say MLA, there are variations of MLA. So this is the Microsoft MLA. If I ever want to change that, just by changing the style here. So there's our works cited, inserted on a separate page. Beautiful, works cited. You don't have to go through all your index cards. You've done your parenthetical references and it comes up just fine. So we centered the title, and I think, yeah, we're leaving it as centered title. We've got our reference list. Now we're going to do a few more refinements to our research paper. Again, some proofreading. And someone realizes that there is a source, there is a misspelling. We come here and realize this is misspelled. I want to not just correct the spelling, I want to correct my source for the misspelling. How do I do that? I go to Manage Sources, click that Zhao entry, and click Edit. And I can correct the spelling of that, or the title of that periodical, and remove the word and. If there were anything else wrong with this, I can correct it in the Manage Sources. I click OK, and I click OK again. I'm saving the change to my stored master list if I want. Don't worry, if yes or no doesn't matter here. And now I click Close. But wait a minute. It didn't show the change. What's going on? What should I do? Well, don't fret. All you have to do is right-click on your bibliography and tell it Update. Doesn't matter where you click in the bibliography, just right-click on it, Update field, and watch the change now propagate to my inserted bibliography. Another way to do that would be simply to close the document and reopen it, and it will refresh that bibliography. So right-click, Update if I've made any changes to my sources. So Manage Sources, I can make any other changes. Any change I make, just Update Source, and it will then show your updated bibliography. Isn't that so cool? If you add a source, you would be updating that as well. Okay, we made a change to bibliography. We can navigate our document. I hardly ever use the navigation page, but under View, I can view navigation or the outline. or I can close my outline view. I can go back to my regular print layout. If I want to see my navigation page, I can click View, turn on that navigation, show my pages. If I narrow that, this is a typical view of it. Those of you that use Adobe products, this is automatic shown in Adobe products. All right, and I can just jump to that page. We're such a small document, it's easy enough to slide up and down to particular pages. All right, we're navigating a little bit. Now we'd like to insert a citation. We realized up here in our document we're referring to some sources, but we would like to put in our parenthetical reference. We're going to start by putting our parenthetical reference right here after the word keyboard in our second paragraph. Right there, before the period, we click there, and then we can go to References, Citation, and it shows the current sources I have in my document, and I choose the Clark source for a parenthetical reference here. So this shows you that I could add my sources, and then as I'm typing, or after I'm done typing, say, now here's where I referenced each one. Typically, when I'm typing, I'll put them in as I type because it's easy to forget. But there's where I can add my parenthetical reference. Now in the book they say, you should really, because they also mentioned the taking breaks, let's move that to the end of this paragraph. To move this after having it somewhere that I decided I wanted to move, I could delete and reinsert it, or I could grab the little grip handle right there and click and drag that to another place where I want it to actually be. So you can move your parenthetical references around by grabbing the little grip handle right there. So I put one in there, moved it to here, and of course you can delete them. And now it isn't anything that needs to be updated down here because the sources are still the same. If I added a new source, I would also want to regenerate my bibliography. So we can now add more citations, parentheticals, and move them around. Now they would like to replace a word here. They've gone through here and realized that the word auditory is too sophisticated sounding. We'd like to find and replace auditory wherever we reference it and change the name, the word to listening. Well, let's see. How would I find and replace? Well, over here under the Home tab, way over on the right side, here's my find or replace. I'm going to go to the replace. Up pops the dialog. I'm going to find the word auditory. I'm going to replace it with listening. I'm not going to do a replace all. I want to see what it's going to replace. Let's do a find next first. And I see, yes, with these, yes, listening would work there. I'm going to do a replace. And can I find the next one? Oh, there are no. There's only one occurrence of auditory. And did it do the replacement? Make sure it did do the replacement. Let's find next. Oh, I thought it did a replace. I do a replace. Now find next. I forgot to hit the replace. So now no, it's no longer found. Now I could have just gone to that word and used my thesaurus under synonyms, and I could have found the synonym for that. And notice auditory is not a synonym that shows up there. That's interesting. So you do have a built-in thesaurus. I'm not terribly impressed with it, but it does give you a chance if you realize you're using a repetitive word. One of my children that was in high school, he would always pick a word and then repeat it thousands of times. Said, use a thesaurus to help give some variety to the same meaning. They would like to change continual. There's our word continual. It's up there somewhere. Let's find continual and see what we can have to replace that. Let's do a find for continual. There's the word continual. It's used multiple places. Let's just say, rather than have a repeating word, let's choose another word for the second occurrence of continual. Let's right click. Let's try a synonym. How about frequent? So here's I found I had a repeating word. Having a little variety to that word makes my reading a little nicer, a little more professional, a little higher quality writing. Now suppose I'm almost ready to turn it in. I want to be sure I haven't missed any. I could scan through looking for red squiggles and blue lines, or I could take advantage of the Review tab. We're going to spend a little time in the Review tab here. In the Review tab, I can do a global spelling checker. Rather than looking for manual red squiggles, which I should do as I'm typing, I can come here and have it do some typing. Right now it recognizes that. I can say, you know what, I am happy with that in my document. I don't need to add it to my dictionary because I may have a misspelling somewhere else. I'm going to just ignore it in this document. So I can choose ignore all for that one. And then everything else, it hasn't caught any spelling errors. If it does catch some other ones for you, make that spelling check. And it should show a red squiggly or a grammar. And now, it will not catch misspelled words or the wrong words. It won't catch the wrong words if they are spelled correctly. So you may still have misspellings, and that's where perhaps future AI versions of the spell checker may catch those, where it sees the context and realizes you're using the wrong word. I had herring instead of hearing in my other one, and it was not showing as a spelling error. I had just happened to catch it as I was reviewing my document manually. Okay, so now we've got that. Let's go ahead and save that now that we've done some checking. It's almost finalized, but we'd like to now do some comments on my document. Now we're going to pretend that we are now the reviewer of a document that someone has sent us. And they would like to have us comment on their fine work. And so we're going to comment this. We're pretending we're the boss now. Someone's written a paper, sent it to us. We'd like to comment it and send it back to them. Now I could print out a hard copy and just scribble on it. I could insert text boxes with notes, but there is a built-in commenting system for Microsoft Word. Over here underneath Review tab, I can select this line here, taking frequent breaks on page 1. I can highlight that sentence and then add a comment either with the quick menu or up here on New Comment. And it will automatically pop up a Revisions tab or menu, and I can now put in a comment as though I'm the boss making suggestions, and it not automatically shows who you are logged in as. And the comment they would like us to add is, let's cover hand and arm exercises in our brochure. Oh, why is it not taking my comment? There we go. Let's cover hand and arm exercises in our brochure. All by simply coming to the sentence, review mode, add new comment. Highlights that, and when I send it back to my friend, they will see that highlighted. It does not affect how it prints out. It just shows as a comment added to that document. They would like us to add one more comment a little further down under the second page. When we talk about lower volumes, so we select that, and when I add a comment to that, I click New Comment, and I'm going to stress this point, in the brochure as well. So commenting up a document electronically. Nice thing about this is it doesn't matter where these people are. They don't have to wait. You could have a Zoom team meeting. You could be sharing a Google Doc and seeing each other's documents. But to actually comment it, and then send it to them, they can see that stored in their document. You can remove all the comments or show them or not. You can show or hide the reviewing pane. But there's one more thing we'd like to do. We would also like to make some edits, but have them know where the edit was done. It is so common to have someone give you a document and say, here's the new version of this document, and you're wondering, well, what were the changes? That's the first question. What did you change it? Well, you can go to markup and make some corrections, and they will see the corrections that you made to their document. So let's just come here and let's just make some corrections here. How about we'll change it. We'll use the thesaurus, but have them see what we made the change to. So in order for someone to see what changes we're making as we make suggestions or modifications, we come up here to turn on track changes. So I can click track changes, and now anything that I do, make sure that's turned on, anything that I do will get marked. So let's just see here, what could we change? How about repetitive? What other word could I use besides repetitive? Right click, synonyms, dull, boring, monotonous, tedious. Oh, that's not the proper context. Let's find another word that gives me a decent synonym. How about on the, let's see, what should we find here? Extreme pain. What's synonym for extreme? Let's see what we have. Dangerous, thrilling, exciting. Life-threatening. Let's make it life-threatening. We're really serious about tendonitis. There we see what a correction would look like when I turn track changes on. They would take this document, they would see my changes that I've made, they could show the markup or hide it, by going no markup here in the what shows, or I can say, hey, show me what you've changed, and I see the changes they've made. Now remember, they will not see my changes unless when I make my changes I have turned on track changes. This is very useful. Say you've been asked to modify the bylaws for a board. Well, you could go and edit, maybe the chairman says, here's the changes I need to make to the bylaws, and distribute to everyone for comment. Well, unless you turn on track changes, everyone's going to be asking you, well, what changes did you make? Turn on track changes, make the changes that the chairman of the board has asked you to make, and then save it to everyone or send it to everyone. And you could maybe put a little note, by the way, under review track change or review markup, you can see the changes that were suggested by that member of the board. They can one by one add comments, approving that, and then everyone can have that documented that, hey, those changes were approved by the board. It's all documented electronically. So a lot of useful things you can do as you work with other people. Working by yourself, tracking your own changes may not be that important unless your instructor says, here's your draft, make these changes that I've suggested. You don't get credit for the changes unless you've made them. I could see as an instructor saying, turn on track changes so I can see you've made the changes that I suggested. Add a paragraph here, add more content here. Turning on track changes will prove to someone you've done the work. And again, this is an extra skill that your average person that knows Word may be fuzzy on. If you know a little extra, that again will make you the top higher level employee than the others. And let's see, I think now we are done with this document. We are ready to make sure, do our one last Control S save. And now it's ready to be uploaded to Schoology. So I'm going to close this, go to Schoology as my student J Smart. Go to my Section 2, Assignment Word Project 2. I'm going to go to my Submit. Click on this guy to browse to where I have my Word Project 2. Make sure I'm in the right place. Oh, I better make sure I'm in Section 2, not Section 1. And there's my research project. Double click, and now it is submitted. If I realize I made a change, or I haven't saved all my changes, because notice here I'm in the habit of closing Word when I'm done with the document. That's a really good habit to have. Sometimes uploading a document fails because Word has it open, or even worse, you forgot to do a save of all the work you had done and submitted it, and when you closed Word, there were changes you forgot to that did not get saved. If you ever do that, remember, you can always resubmit, and I'll just grade the most recent submission. You can always add it to your portfolio. You cannot delete submissions as far as I can tell. Okay, so that document done. Now it's time for a little break. Gonna do a little speed test break just to give you a mental break. I'm stopping that recording.